So the last two control statements that we are going to look at here are the break and continue statements. And these statements are really used in the loop or in a switch statement. You saw when we had this print method and we had used the switch statement, we were using break, so we kind of already understand a little bit how break works. What it does is it breaks us out of whatever we are in. Usually that's loop, or it could be a switch statement. Let me show you how break works first in this print colors method. So anytime that you are in a loop, if you decide that you want to exit that loop, you can always call break, and then it will immediately exit that loop as if the end condition had been met. So we can do this in a for loop, a while loop, a for each loop, any one of those loops. In this case, let's do something here. Let's break out of the loop when we hit green. And the way we can do that is we can check to see if the current color is equal to green. We are going to skip it, and so what's going to happen is we will get red, we will get blue printed out, but we are going to skip green and we are going to be done. So the way that we are going to implement this is we are going to use an if here, and we are going to use a special syntax here to compare strings. We don't want to say equal when we are using strings, because strings are objects, and with the equal operator, if you compare two objects, it's going to check to see if they are the exact same object, not if they are basically equivalent. And this is kind of a bit of a complex topic with the equals, but you just have to know that when you are comparing objects, if you want to compare the values, especially, this is a rule you have to follow with strings. And this is different than C++. In Java, if you are familiar with C++, this is going to seem a little bit weird to you. But in Java, you want to do a certain comparison like this. You will do your string dot equal and then your other string. So we are going to say if green equal current color, then we are going to break. And this will break us out of the loop. And this does look a little bit weird, but all we are doing here is comparing two strings. We could have written this as equal, but that could cause a problem if these strings aren't the exact same thing, same string, which a lot of times they are not going to be because they are different memory locations. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens here. I will change this to print colors and we will run this. And you can see it's just printed red and blue. It didn't go through a whole list because once it got to green, this if statement evaluates it's true and it hit the break and it broke out of the loop. Now let's say that we didn't want to break out of the loop. We just wanted to skip green because we don't ever want to print green. We just want to print all the other colors. If instead of a break statement, I use a continue statement here, it's not going to break completely out of the loop. What it's going to do is, when it hits continue statement, it's going to be like it hit this end bracket of the loop. It's going to go back to the beginning of the loop, and so it will print red, it will print blue. When we get to green, this if statement is going to evaluate to true. It's going to hit the continue, which is going to cause it to skip the print line. And it's going to go back to the top of the loop, and it will then hit yellow, and then it will hit orange. So let's go ahead and run this and see how that works. You can see here red, blue, yellow, orange. So basically a break statement is going to break out of a loop, and it will work for a for loop, a while loop, a for each loop, and a continue statement. Continuous statement is going to end that iteration of the loop and go on to the next iteration of the loop, just like you would hit the end bracket of the loop.